Wrestling has more than one royal family. According to Randy Orton this week on Raw, he was on the phone and said those very words. But just who or what is Randy Orton planning and who could be coming back as we get Raw on the Hit in the Turnbuckle podcast? You like what I did there? Right? It's because I forgot to do the background before we started. Um, we're on the road to WrestleMania. We are now, I think, 3 weeks away from the two-night extravaganza on WWE, and Raw this week done a little bit to get us there and a few bits in a big way. But yeah, let's start with Randy Orton. He was on the phone. He was talking to someone about the takeout of Cody Rhodes. That it was a time. It was the time was right. It's kind of like the time isn't right. The time is now. He was going to be interviewed by Michael Cole. He said no, he's not going to do that. He's a killer. And then he left with that when and he would see his person on the phone soon. Who is it? What is it? I don't want to say what is it. It's going to be a who, right? I've said what too many times already. What? Who is it? Who is the person Randy Orton? Is it his father, Cowboy Bob Orton? Yeah, could it be him? Could it be the Cowboy Bob's going to be making a comeback for this particular WrestleMania match? He's had history with Dusty as well, so it could be. Shane McMahon was another name that was brought up. The McMahon legacy lives on, maybe. I think he's had a relationship, obviously, with Triple H, although that's not really a family affair, is it? Ric Flair? Who's it going to be? You tell us. Who is it going to be? Who is Randy Orton speaking to on the phone? And when will we see that person? Could it be Cody's wife? There you go. It's another one. Anyway, we'll find out. Well, I'm sure we'll find out definitely either before or during WrestleMania, as that is going to main event night one of WrestleMania. Anyway, right, let's get on with it. Masked men show up this week on Raw, surround the ring. Seth Rollins is one of them, and no surprises there. God forbid what entrance he's going to have at WrestleMania, by the way. I would have no clue. Um, he removes his hood. He says he created the vision, and if you stand with Paul Heyman, you are marked for death. Well, Paul Heyman didn't take too kindly to that. He arrived on the stage and he looked like shit, to be honest with you. He had red in his eyes. He had a black eye. He was all over. Um, he was slowly walking to the ring. Seth Rollins was absolutely roasting him. But Heyman said he wasn't going to come out here, but he wouldn't miss this for the world. Seth Rollins is about to FAFO, FAFO, FAF5. And the beast incarnate Brock Lesnar literally stomps his way to the ring. Security, well, the masked men, sorry, got absolutely obliterated on the outside of the ring. There was one guy, one independent wrestler on X, who was one of the guys that Lesnar kind of sort of slammed half into the steps, half on the onto the floor, which I thought was hilarious. He done a sick one onto the barricade, the padded barricade, um, onto one of the guys. That was great. Really loved that. Gets into the ring and the lights go out. The ruler, Oba Fembi, I always say dances is down to the ring, but I don't know what you would, you know, is that a strut that he does? I don't know what he does. Oba Fembi makes his way to the ring. Seth Rollins, by the way, is in the corner, absolutely loving what is happening. What is happening? Brock Lesnar looks a little bit concerned, to be honest with you, when he first sees Oba Fembi. Um, the crowd are all over this, absolutely all over it. So was I, to be fair. Pop big time. I had it, we kind of guessed that this is where it was going, but the visual on this is amazing. Obafemby staring down Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins in the corner. I think Obafemby said, "It doesn't matter who you are, you're still gonna die." Well, I thought that was great. That line was fantastic. Brock turns to Seth Rollins. Seth goes out of the ring as Brock turns back. Obafemby picks Brock Lesnar up like he is a cruiserweight and drops him in a powerbomb. Michael Cole said it best. Holy shit. That it was an absolutely incredible. Brock Lesnar has took Obafemby from star to megastar in 20 seconds with one move. Obafemby is now to the moon. What happens at WrestleMania, I don't know. But he has just made that guy. He has made I think Obafemby got a little bit emotional actually during the end of that. I think you saw. I don't know if you saw that. If you look closer in his eyes when he's staring down Lesnar, he looks very emotional in his eyes. I don't know if there's any tears, but he knew. He knew at that moment when that move is hit, that crowd are going wild. They're chanting his name. He knows right now that he may be one of the hottest properties in wrestling. Is will the WWE capitalize on it is another thing. But regardless, Brock Lesnar made somebody in 20 seconds. I'm not saying he wasn't already at a level, but Brock Lesnar elevated him up in 20 seconds and allow him to hit one move. And that's it. That is all he needed to hit. And it was an incredible visual, without a doubt. Um, I'm looking forward to the match at WrestleMania. It's not going to be a long one, I don't think. You look at it, unless Brock starts getting the upper hand in the next couple of weeks, if they just go to WrestleMania like that, you'd say Brock wins. Is that a controversial? Is it controversial to say Brock Lesnar may win at WrestleMania? I we kind of know that he's going to be at SummerSlam and potentially retiring at SummerSlam. That's the news. That's what comes out, and that feat could fall to obviously the career killer himself, Gunther. But this was a great moment. This really was a great moment, and whatever happens at WrestleMania, they've made Obafemby. Absolutely made him. What a tremendous start. That was, you know, I don't really care about the mask guys and where Seth and the Vision are going. I don't know because we still don't know the status on Braun Breaker with 3 weeks to go. Um, but that bit, if you cut the crap at the start, and that it's a brilliant start to Raw. Anyway, original El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. Um, this was decent enough, a fun match, but we're kind of at a point now where we just need to close this off. Um, the El Grande gets the win. Uh, Rayo slips him the mask, and when Chad Gable comes off the top of the headbutt, hits the mask, and that finishes. But we're going to get to a point with this where we need to move on. Then the mask versus mask match. I think that's where we're going with it. It needs to happen. Obviously, it will happen at WrestleMania. Does it warrant WrestleMania? Again, when I say during the war and all that, but WrestleMania used to be the showcase of the Immortals. It used to be your dream matches. Um, for me, like just get it done and move on. I would rather Chad Gable lose it, to be honest with you. Sure, it's a cup of Joe. I'd rather Chad Gable lose it. To be quite honest, I know he signed a contract not too long ago, a year or two ago. He needs to get out of there. Look, he's making like chicken salad out of chicken shit, right, or whatever the word is. Maybe the other way around. Um, because he's so good, wrestling wise, pure wrestling wise. There ain't many, if not any, better on that roster. To have him with Shorty G, to have him in a fucking mask, it just it's great. Don't get me wrong, the crowd love it, but I'm looking at it from a pure wrestling perspective. I want to see him go out and having bangers, and the match will be great because Ludwig Kaiser, who's currently playing El Grande, they'll have a great match. But both of these characters need to just move on, in my opinion. And look, they'll do this at WrestleMania, and hopefully that'll be done. Hopefully. Uh, I want to talk about the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. AJ Lee and Bailey. I mean, this was great. I really enjoyed the Intercontinental Championship on the line, by the way, as well. Women's Intercontinental Championship, of course, on the line. um, in the limited action that AJ Lee has had since coming back, and I've said this quite a bit, that I feel that she needs to have a run of matches. I don't think we'll get there. um, like I said, 3 or 4 weeks to go to WrestleMania. I don't think we'll get to that stage where she's having matches upon matches. I feel as if like she should have a match every week now because we're building to WrestleMania. If you could have her match with Bailey every week, I mean, this was great. I felt as if this was her best match since coming back, and they do have a great chemistry in the ring, Bailey and AJ Lee, and I feel that that was portrayed in this. And if you could have every week AJ Lee and Bailey, um, it would be fine. It would be brilliant. I do feel like AJ Lee needs to have a couple more matches before WrestleMania, but I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe a tag. But this was great. I really enjoyed it, and they do need to run this back. But I will keep saying this until the tide comes in. I feel like Bailey, and I said this about Chad Gable, but I feel as if Bailey's time in the WWE is kind of done in terms of like I don't. She's done everything. She's pretty. There's only so much you can do, right? And I know AEW have been going crazy with acquisitions and stuff, but I genuinely believe Bailey needs to make the jump to AEW. I genuinely believe that. Um, she's brilliant. She's absolutely fantastic, and she'll be a big loss to WWE. But when you get to a stage now where WWE have got a lot of these young, I say the younger talents. That seems harsher than Bailey, but they got a lot of great talents in NXT like Zaria, Sol Ruka, JC Jane. And you got to add them. They've eventually got to come up, right? It's on that other Bailey as well. I think they've changed her name. Nikki Blackheart is another one who's apparently been signed by WWE, and the term goddess doesn't get thrown around a lot, but she is. And when you look at them, Rain Leverkusen from the UK has gone in as well, and she's a heck of a talent. So again, I keep saying when you have that, and you've got to bring them up at some point, right? Or you fire them. That's WWE's thing. When you look at that, you could argue that there's fresh feuds for Bailey. At the same time, you could argue that they're going to come up and she's basically going to put them over. And I still feel Bailey has got a lot left in the tank in terms of what she can do. So I think I don't know contract situation, and I'll never portray that I do know. But it could be that it's Bailey's time to jump ship. But we'll see. We'll see what happens anyway. But anyway, this match, AJ Lee got her to tap to the Black Widow. In a really really good match, and AJ Lee was never going to lose it. That's she's going to WrestleMania as Intercontinental Champion. I think we all were, we all kind of knew that anyway, right? Um, but when they come back from the break, Becky Lynch is back and back with a bang, and she is kicking seven bells of shit out of AJ Lee on that stage. She's annihilating her. So Becky Lynch is back. The man has come back around and is annihilating AJ Lee. So we are probably, I would say, going to WrestleMania, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee one more time. Which I would assume Becky Lynch wins the championship. Um, I don't know if I want to see it again. We've seen it twice. We've seen it like a mixed tag. Seen it in a single ready. Do we want to go one more time? I don't know. People will say yes. Listen, people say yes, people say no. Um, I don't personally want to see it again, but that's just me, right? That is just my opinion. Um, Dom Mysterio got busted open at Triple R this past weekend. Unprotected chair shot to the head, split the head down the middle, not cleared. So Penta needed an opponent for the Intercontinental Championship match. For the men's Intercontinental Championship match, and boy, did they give him a good one. Dragon Lee. I mean, this was a lucha match. If you love lucha libre, This took me back. This took me back to the old WCW cruiserweight division that I used to have, and it used to be on like the top of the hour. It used to be like it used to be around that sort of. You used to either start the show or it'd be at top of the hour, and you'd get like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, people like that in there. And these two had a heck of a cruiser a lucha match. I would love it, and they won't do it for a lot of reasons. I would love it if they made two things. Either bring back the Cruiserweight Championship. I know there's a lot of championships in wrestling already. Bring back the Cruiserweight Championship, or make the IC Championship about the Cruiserweights or the Cruiserweights or the Luchadors. Because the one thing that the Luchadors deliver are bangers. The match quality is fantastic on all of it. I love it. This was fantastic. This was brilliant. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Mexican Destroyer wins the match for Penta. Again, probably no surprise about it, but still a fantastic match. Danhausen this week was going to curse Kofi Kingston because they didn't want him in a New Day. Kofi Kingston was with Grayson Waller. And as he went, you are, and as he said, cursed. Kofi put Grayson Waller in the way. We'll see. He cursed the Miz this week, and the Miz his microphone played up, so see, still doesn't know where the exit is on the stage. You know, if you know, you know. But yeah, hilarious. Natty and Maxine were next. This is becoming a bit too run of the mill. It's becoming a bit too samey, samey, samey. Maxine takes a hell of a lot of punishment. Natty beats her. That's exactly what happened this week. Um, did she take too long to tap from the sharpshooter? Was a question that got posed on social media. Maybe. I feel as if you have to fight for it a little bit in there, especially with a kind of. We're going to talk a little bit about something that happened with Maxine after that. Maybe the cameras picked up. I don't know if you guys picked up. Um, But anyway, Maxine was scratching and crawling to pick up, and that's kind of what her character is. So, although there's an argument to say that she did take too long to tap out, I think the character, the way that she just takes punishment, takes punishment, takes punishment, I feel as if that was perfectly okay. It was standard stuff. I'm glad Natty picked up the victory. Don't get me wrong, because you've seen me on here go crazy at times when Natty hasn't won. Um, I don't know what's in their futures. Maxine, on the other hand, we'll get to, but in Natty, I'm not quite sure. She's a lifer; she ain't going anywhere. But just in terms of what they're going to do with her, I don't know, and I just wonder what's in her future, where they're going to go with it, because her character's badass, but losing that first match that she did. Yeah, it's awkward. It's an awkward one. She's Andy on the show always said it right when he said like name me one great Natty Neidhart match or storyline, and other than the Charlotte Flair one at NXT with Brett and Rick at the ringside, there really isn't one. Or memorable thing, there isn't one. When you're looking at a hall, I mean, she's a Hall of Famer, no question about it. She is a Hall of Famer, but when you look back, what has she? What you know? He's right. Andy's right. There has really been nothing to really remember her by. But she had the farting gimmick. She done that. And that was stupid, but she done it, and she made again chicken salad out of chicken shit. But yeah, really nothing. Unfortunately for Nay, anyway, because she's a heck of a. She's still better than most of them on the roster. To this day. Anyway, now Maxine. Um, what you did, what the cameras picked up later on was interesting. I'm not sure who it was backstage, but when you go behind, Maxine's laying there after a defeat, and she's then been spoken to by Austin Theory and Logan Paul of the Vision, mainly Austin Theory. But that opens up lots of opportunities here. What's going on? Is she going to join the Vision, Maxine Dupree? Is that where we're going? That's interesting. I mean, that's something. It took me by surprise. Really took me by surprise. I didn't expect it, but I'm kind of here for it. I wouldn't mind seeing that because you look at Natty. She's built this Maxine up. Maxine's now sooner or later she's going to be where she needs to be, and then she goes and joins the Vision with Paul Heyman, and then you've got Heyman under your wing. Heyman's taking her under her wing, and yeah, that's something interesting. That is something that I want to see what happens with, and I want to see how that pans out. I hope it doesn't end up in a feud of Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Otis and Tozawa. But Maxine going to the Vision, something to watch out for. Definitely something to watch out for. The women on Raw again this week. Another great match. Stephanie Vacquer, Raquel Rodriguez. I'm not sure Stephanie's a fan of her music change. She didn't look all that happy. I know it's been quite a few number of weeks and months now since the change. It's not been a good change. Being deaf rebelled is not good. I don't think she likes it. Anyway, um, good back and forth. Obviously, Liv on the outside, a WrestleMania opponent, of course. She's getting involved quite a bit in this match, which leads to Io Sky getting involved. Bit of a random one, considering you know, the whole she was with Rhea Ripley. Obviously, she's on SmackDown doing stuff with Jade Cargill, Cargill, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but anyway, solid match on this. Lots of interference. A bit surprised by Io Sky's interference. It leads to Raquel trying to hit her finish, the Tejada bomb. Vaquer rolling her up for the victory, which I thought was nice. Champion looked a little bit weak if you're having to win via a roll up, but good counter. I think, you got to be careful with that. You got to still make your champs look strong. When you're going into WrestleMania, even if Liv is winning, which probably will be, but at least make Stephanie look a bit stronger. Um, and I'm hoping Stephanie and Vakir and Liv have a one-on-one, no interference. I really hope it's let them go one-on-one. I think the way that Liv sells some moves as well, that really can do a lot at WrestleMania with Stephanie Vakir. She's very hard hitting, and I think we all want to see the Devil's Kiss on Liv Morgan as well, right? Anyway, Roman Reigns comes out at ringside for another promo segment with CM Punk. He says you have to forgive Phil because he gets a little confused. So he should come out here to clear things up. And of course, he obliges. Um, this was okay. Like, way too long for me. Great segment, just too long. There really wasn't a lot of Punk dropped that big bomb on him the other week. Now, what has come out since, and I don't know if it's true, is that Roman was meant to bring up Larry, CM Punk's dog. Uh, he called CM Punk old. He's like, you're just old, or something like that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're just old. And that's when Punk then hits Roman Reigns and security around. So he was meant to bring up Larry, but he didn't. So I don't know if there was a change to that. Whether that, because for me, the ending of that was weak. When Punk dropped that bomb 2 weeks ago and said, I'm burying you next to your father. I mean, that is, to then just respond and go, you're old, It- it's like, fuck, he's killed you on the mic last week. And to do that, there was a bit where Roman tried to leave as well and Punk was stopping him and it looked, but all in all, they were talking about their government names as well. He was Punk and he was called Roman Joe, and he said, "Well, he's not really a Samoan, so there's a Samoan that I love called Joe, and and all of this sort of stuff." And and he said that he must give him a call because he's not here anymore. That was nice. A little bit something like that, anyway. But yeah, I just felt like it did end up. It's basically Punk saying it's the last time you're going to main event at WrestleMania. He's going to split Roman's ego with in two with GTS's, and that Punk is delusional as well. And Punk can't do the walking because he's old. And then Reigns smiled at this point for Punk losing his cool. Um, but I just felt like it was weak considering, calling him old is fucking old. I'm old. You're all anyone at a certain age is old. So I don't think that it's going to work. I don't think they're saying it's going to work. I don't think it was a stronger segment as it was, but I do like the match of what's going to happen at WrestleMania. But I just felt that ending could have been stronger. I just felt it lacked something there. But anyway, that was Raw this week. A couple of weeks on for WrestleMania, and we are on the road to it in big time. Of course, thank you for joining us. Coming up on the show, some more review shows. AJ Francis's interview has just dropped. Hit that TNA exclusive playlist. Go and see our interview with AJ Francis. Suffice to say, he is not happy. Follow us everywhere. HTT Buckle. More announcements, more stuff coming soon. But until then, thanks for getting raw. But buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.